Hello, everyone. My name is Shubnum, and I'm a writer from South Africa, Durban. My grandfather came to South Africa in the 1930s, and so I'm basically like a second generation. And I'm living in South Africa, and I write about Indian women in South Africa, or at least most of my novels are focused on that. My first novel is about three generations of Muslim Indian women living in South Africa. And I think inevitably I was always going to write about women, even though I didn't know it. But I became interested in reading and writing because my grandfather, who came from at that time Gujarat, was always telling us stories. I think my grandmother passed away when we were quite young, so I think he was lonely. So I think his way of getting company was to call all the grandchildren around him and tell them the stories. So he would tell us, in this very grand way of making the sounds and the noises and being on the ship and coming on the journey from India to South Africa. And when he came to South Africa, he was so shocked that there was no electricity in his village where he had come from, and South Africa had electricity. And he remembered running water. He put his mouth to the tap to drink the water, and he would tell these stories in such a wonderful way. And as a young child, you would hear these stories, and I would think, oh my God, I want to tell stories like that too. And that's how I got pulled into telling stories. And my sister would take me to the library. I didn't come from a family where we were reading a lot of books or we were being encouraged to read a lot of books. My that just didn't happen. But I think my sister taking me to the library and my grandfather telling me those stories opened up this idea that the world was so much more bigger than I could imagine and that there was magic in the world. So I would go to the library and get as much books as I could and read as much as I could. And I just thought I'm going to be a writer, but I didn't realize now I can say that I'm writing a lot about women. Was it's I think because my mother had seven sisters, I have three older sisters. I've been surrounded by women my whole life. I've been hearing them talk about food and cooking and life and their husbands and the things that happen. And inevitably, I think if you're going to become a writer, that your writing turns to that. And then as I got older, so my second book is more about how I wanted to travel and I wanted to do things and see the world. But I came from a I come from a very conservative community, and your job as a woman is to just get married and have babies and don't go travel, don't write a book. This is not something you do. And so my second book is about how I tried to find to be myself, which I feel like I have. But yeah, so that's what my writing style is.